The next two men I want to talk to in relation to the ESB Networks, and the reason why they're here, we're around 20 minutes away from the launch of the Dingle project. But I've got Johnathan Sandham, who's Smart Networks Manager at ESB Networks, and I've got a man who will be familiar to a lot of people listening, and that is former Kerry footballer Darragh Ó Sé. Good morning to both of you.
Morning.
Thanks for talking to us. Johnathan, talk to me a little bit about the nuts and bolts of how this will work. You're obviously trialling things, and you're using several different types of new technology. You're looking for people to volunteer and interact with you to change, I suppose, the way they interact with electricity in their homes.
Yeah, Jerry, so a pleasure to be here. There's probably two real challenges that we face out into the future that were highlighted earlier. We're trying to understand how technology is adopted by customers and by individuals and by communities, and how we can facilitate that at a high level. So we're looking at the key technologies like your air source heat pumps, electrified heat, the electrification of transport and e-mobility, smart electric vehicle chargers. And how we can actually take those technologies and actually bring them in and enrich lifestyle into the future without in any way negatively impacting that.
Okay, talk to me a bit about heat for electricity. Like most people who would have gone through over the last 40 years, maybe switching away from it and putting oil in or making decisions about how they're going to heat their homes. Some people go with gas tanks in their garden, if you're in this part of the county anyway, or this part of the country, and they have gas-fired boilers. How is the modern electricity heating solution going to look? I know there's passive housing now and all of that sort of stuff, but how's that going to look for people?
Okay, so from a housing point of view, when you look at your heat pumps, we have a vast different amount of different areas which we've been working on for the last few years, trying to understand how heat pumps can enable different fabrics of houses. So a 1970s house, a 1980s house, right up to your new build. So your passive housing is great, and heat pumps work in there. We can see that. However, on an older fabric house, we're trying to appreciate how once we have the windows and the insulation done within the house, how these new technologies can just be retrofitted in to replace your traditional boiler without changing out the radiators or the electric or any other immersion tanks or anything like that.
Have they become a lot more efficient in terms of the amount of electricity used away from the old storage heater model people would have?
Yeah, so the storage heater model was tricky for us really, because it required a kind of a change in the usage from a user point of view. These heat pumps operate exactly the same as your boiler. They have exactly the same boost functionality. They operate in the background and are just as efficient, if not better. And
that's so you're going to be trying to convince people and say, look, try this out, see how it works, see what impact it has on your annual bill or your 2 monthly bill.
That's exactly it, yeah.
Okay. The other elements of it then, you're looking for smart metering technology in homes, people to volunteer for that, and also battery storage on a domestic level. How is that going to work? What kind of practical application will that have for people?
So from a practical point of view, as we go into renewable energy into the future, as we adopt more and more wind, it's a non-dispatchable type of energy. It's there when it's available. However, we want to operate at home as exactly as we have in the past out into the 2030 time frame. So for us to be able to use electricity whenever we want, we have to have some form of storage, and that's essentially what the battery is, that it can actually store energy when there is wind available or solar energy available on the system, and we can then dislocate our generation demand or load demand from generation in the future.
So you'll have a battery that will be stored up when it's a windy day or a good day from the point of view of, let's say, if you're going with solar power or photovoltaic cells on your roof, that'll be in to kick in when you won't need to use electricity from the grid, and that will work better for, like, you won't be spending as much money, it'll be stored as a backup.
That's exactly it, yeah.
Okay, all right, Darragh, this is Darragh Ó Sé, if we can talk to you. This is a big opportunity, I suppose, for West Kerry and the peninsula to take advantage of the fact that you've been picked out of all areas in Ireland.
Yeah, and we, as a West Kerry man, we love to be the guinea pigs. As you can see around the car park, tourism is rampant here, and it's a great opportunity for West Kerry to embrace this and take it on board. Because of the conditions and the weather we get here sometimes in the winter, the ideas the lads are putting forward here are fantastic, and it's generally talking to locals, they're delighted with the opportunity, you know, and from a GA point of view as well, the clubs are being brought in under the same wing as well, which is a huge. And I mean, it's cleaner energy, it's green as well. And look, we're depending on our tourism, we're depending on green energy as well for tourism back here. So it's a great opportunity for the people of West Kerry, and we're delighted to be chosen. Yeah,
they're also working. I know I thought Johnathan about the technology in terms of the network and the stability of it, and power outages in bad weather. Very often, I mean, and the West Kerry Peninsula, you can feel like you're at the end of the line. But if they develop the kind of technology and a more resilient network, that'll be good news as well, facing the weather that we face here.
Yeah, the last couple of winters have been tough. I suppose you said at the end of the world, the next stop is New York from here, so we are at the tip of it. But which is great. But I mean, you know, the batteries are a great idea. The electric cars are a great idea. Solar panels, all these kind of things are great, and it saves energy and it's productive. So I mean, to be chosen and to be at the forefront of it and to be breaking new ground, it's great. We embrace it. We're delighted to be chosen, as I say.
Okay, Johnathan, on that, do you think now people are actively going to be considering, right, you know, this is an opportunity, should I get an electric power point for an electric vehicle in my home? And that also has a connection, I understand, to how you power your home. Will you be able to use an electric car as a backup generator for your house if things go wrong?
Yeah, so some of the new technologies in electric cars that are coming down the road but are already in chargers are the idea of vehicle to grid, where you can discharge the car with electricity from the battery and actually power your home. So if you were in a long-term outage for a number of days out on the tail end of the peninsula, you could come to Dingle, charge your car and bring that power home, which is a unique kind of a proposition we would never have even thought about really in 3 years ago even. So that possibility is there, and will be explored within the trials.
Yeah, Margaret Sayers was talking earlier on about, you know, the whole issue of power storage or power generation yourself, whether it's through the solar power or through other elements that you can generate, that you may actually give electricity back to the grid or trade with your neighbours if you have got the self-generation process in your home.
Yeah, again, it's really a blend. We're looking to understand how much solar is the right amount of solar, how much wind is the right amount of wind, and everything down to anaerobic digestion and green gas. What is the perfect mix for us? How much is at home versus how much is in a community-led scheme to crack the perfect.
Okay, all part of this as well will be, I'd imagine, the whole idea of remote usage or remote access to whatever is going on in your house, whether it's turning on the heating, turning on the hot water. Is that part of it? Like, you'll arrive in home and everything will be on that you want it to be on, but running as efficiently as possible.
There's two things to this: the control when you want the control, but that the technology is looking after this balancing of energy behind the scenes that you don't really have to worry about it.
Yeah.
So the energy, the hot water is there when you need it, the house is heated when you need it, and the electric vehicle is charged when you need it as well. But we're doing that at most efficient times when wind is available on the system or when the sun is shining.
Yeah. And I know this is obviously part of the reason, so I know you don't have all the answers today, but what are the cost implications for people if you want to get retrofitted for whatever it is, or fitted out for either your smart meter or your battery, your domestic power battery, solar panels? That argument there, will it be worked out over the next couple of months of, look, is this worth my investment? How long is it going to be till I make my money back on deciding on these things?
That's one of the key parts of the project, really, to raise that awareness and educate ourselves along with the public as to, you know, what is out there from a grants perspective already from the likes of SCAI, what we'll be doing and how we target different bits in the project, but really coming up with this rubber stamp idea that we can prove it down here and drive it out across the country.
So the practical application of what the average bill someone will be, and if you go down this road, what it will be in 2-3 years time once you start getting used to using these new technologies.
That's
it. If you are looking at a scenario, one of our listeners said it this morning, what's the unit price of electricity going to be if you're successful? If you get everyone generating their own power, everyone needing less, using it more efficiently, how will you make money?
So I suppose the ESB Networks is there to I suppose facilitate the best way forward.
Yeah.
But from a supplier point of view, it does. There are questions.
There are implications. Yeah.
But if you look into the likes of the US, what happens is if you don't do this, pricing gets far more volatile. And the technology can really be used to create a steady state for the unit price. Okay, so you're at that point, I suppose, of that's another thing you need to factor in to saying, can people have certainty about what they'll be paying in electricity, unlike maybe with some of the other carbon generated powers like oil and everything else like that, and gas that can go up and down depending on international markets. So stability and pricing is another aspect to it.
Okay. All right. Regulators will be looking at this as well, the results of it, to say, look, this is the best way to go with this. So we will try and jumpstart people getting solar panels, or getting, other aspects of it, or the battery generation possibility, or battery storage possibility in their homes. That's all part of it, I'd imagine.
It is. I was actually amazed myself when I started looking into it, the amount of funding that's out there already. So ESB Networks are very keen to not over-incentivise what's already there.
What's been done by the SAI.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we leverage that as much as possible, and then at the same time, for newer technologies, for those to be adopted, there will be some form of incentive for it. For different parts of the peninsula, there's different requirements from a resiliency point of view versus kind of a urban versus rural, and different technology will be identified in different locations for that.
Okay, Michael Callan in Killarney says, can you ask the ESB if they would have any interest in my micro anaerobic digester? Is that a possibility?
I think we were very keen within the overall governance of the project, and while setting up the project, that there is a scope to bring everything into, or there is the ability to bring everything into scope. And if the cost benefit analysis are right, we're cognizant that there has to be a full blend of different forms of generation proven across the country. So yeah. Okay,
Tim Clifford in Clorglen. Hi Jerry, I have a smart home system set up in my home. I am saving money. That comes in from Tim Clifford in Clorglen. And is that the ultimate for it, Johnathan, that you set up these things, you can click on your mobile phone, you're an hour away from home, you decide I need to put on the heat a little bit earlier than I have it, you have that kind of control. Does that mean you can make those decisions, and you'll be aware of, look, this is how I'll save money if I'm running off the solar or running off the battery during the middle of the night, vice versa?
It's all about convenience, comfort within the home, and allowing people to embrace what is out there, and giving a kind of an unbiased view as to what is the best technology to put out there.
Okay, you're also looking at digital champions, 5 of them in the West Kerry, to get in very deep with this with regards to fitting out their homes and trying it out over the trial period.
Yeah, so within the next few weeks, we're partnering up with yourselves, I believe, to find five champions and ambassadors that will be geared up, we'll say, from a domestic point of view, with all of these, with the heat pump, with the vehicle charger, with solar PV, battery storage, immersion controls, and smart meter. Okay,
Darragh Ó Sé, would you look to get involved? Smart meters, power, all of that sort of thing in your home?
I would indeed. I'd love to do it. It's the way forward. I've been in a couple of houses that they have it done, and it's you can put the kettle on coming up the drive and stuff like that. So no, it's excellent, and it's the way forward. Most people have smartphones now. It's and most houses are smart wired, even though they don't utilize it. So it's the way forward. I mean, it's go back 25, 30 years ago, we were all talking about mobile phones. This is the way forward, and I think we should just, rather than kind of be I suppose, nervous of it, I think we should embrace it and move forward with it, because it's you look at other countries, that's the way it's gone.
Yeah, like we're in an area now where you'll have one device in your home. If you want to listen to the radio station, or you come in, speak to the device, it finds it for you. Similar with your, you'll be able to talk to your devices inside your home as well, not just through your mobile phone. So, Johnathan, that's all part of the direction we're going in.
I think at the end of the day, we're not going to. We've a huge opportunity down here to actually embrace it now, to get ahead of it and put the right foot forward, and understand the industries that will be actually driven from it into the future as well. Okay, gentlemen, thanks very much for talking to us in the programme this morning. I know you're getting ready for the launch now, but thanks for talking to us. As Darragh Ó Sé, and also Johnathan Sandham, who's the Smart Networks Manager with ESB Networks.